KT7 up here. Today, I will review and showcase Dialdo, the last void character from the Another Story arc. He is one of the toughest unit to take down with very high AoE and single target resistance. He can also deal decent damage. One of the best units in the game to date. This unit helped me rank in top 70 in a few CM and quick pick seasons. Let's get started. As usual, we will start with his basic info. He is a 100 cost tank unit in the Earth element. His main job is the Servant of the Void, Despair. A magic-based spear class, with Kododama and Red Mage as sub-jobs. His TMR is an accessory, the stats on it is very good. 215 HP, 8 Spirit, 10 Crit Evade, and 7 Agility, which is one of the highest in the whole game. The ability is a self-buff, grants him lower target's bravery by 20 when attacks land for 3 turns. A unit with lower bravery will deal less physical damage, take more physical damage, and has a lower physical-based reactions proc chance. Overall a superb TMR. Just the 7 agility alone makes this top tier. Let's move on to his stats. He has 4457 based HP, which is top 5 in the game. He has an 810 defense and 8 spirit. His agility is decent at 57, but he does not have any agility bonus from his board or support abilities, which is normal for tank type units. Base 3 move and 1 jump, and has an support ability to increase his movement to 4. It is very good for a tank to have option for higher movements, much easier to create separation if needed. Moving on to his weapon type resistances. He has 20 to slash, 10 to strike, 15 to missile, 20 to magic. The only negative is to pierce, at -5. This is not a huge problem, a simple Truststone will bring it to a positive. His status ailments resistances are 50 to slow, 50 to stop and 10 to berserk. I run him at 97 faith for his self-healing and damage, so I always have stop resistance on his Truststone to counter Dark Fina. I do think he is at his best at 97 faith, the reward is much greater than the risks. He can tank magic damage very well. He can equip spears, hats, and cloths. No heavy armor. Next we have his mastery ability, it is the typical 10% HP and plus 15 earth attack to earth allies. For himself, he gets max HP of 20% and spirit penetration 10. My Dialdo is at 4 times reincarnations. His 140 upgrade gives him AoE resistance of 10 and magic damage up 10%. Plus upgrade to his job level 25 attack to decrease target's AP by 20. Both his mastery and 140 upgrades work very well with his kit, giving him both offense and defense. Continuing on to his farmable spear. The magic type is the one I recommend for Dialdo. The general abilities are piercing attack up 10 and magic attack up 10. And for Dialdo, it will also give him physical damage up 10, magic attack up 10 and AoE resistance 8. This is the only equipment he can equip that has AoE resistance on it, a must-have for him. Now let's go over his main job support abilities. The first one is the one you need to have on him all the time. It gives him 12 defense, 5 and 8 hate, and 15 single target resistance. The second one gives him move +1 and max HP up 12%. Having option for higher movement is always good, especially for a tank. The reaction ability from his main job is a self-heal. 20% chance to proc, recover 20% of his max HP after taking physical damage. Next is Limit Burst. It is a cross-shape AoE up to 4 squares away. Deals pierce damage large, and increase his single target resistance by 20 and 10% HP regen for 3 turns. This LB can deal some good damage and the AI likes to use it. Now let's look at his buffs. The first one has the highest AI priority. For 3 turns, it gives him defense up 20, shell, lower debuffs effects by 50%, and grants him an additional reaction ability. A chance to lower all incoming physical damage. This is how the lower debuffs effect works. Let's say Mont uses Claws of the Young Lion on Dialdo. Normally it lowers target's slash resistance by 38%. So on the screen here you can see, Dialdo starts off with 33% slash resistance. Without this buff, his slash resistance goes down to -5%. And with this buff active, his slash resistance only gone down by 19%, leaving him with a positive 14 to slash. This works with all debuffs targeting him. The second buff in his main kit is also a self buff. It has the second highest priority if you don't have any group buffs turned on, giving him 12 active hate and lower elemental chain damage by 80% for 3 turns. Perfect for going up against mono element teams. Moving on to his attacks. The first one is an AoE up to range 3. Medium pierce damage and dispel all buffs from the targets. Even though this attack has a short range, but since enemies will be drawn by his hate, this skill is used very often by the AI. His second attack is a magic type attack. It only has one range, prior to damage, increases Dialdo's healing power by 20, then deals damage large, and absorb 30% of the damage done. He usually recovers around 3k HP with this attack. However, the AI does not use this skill very often unless the target has lower magic resistance such as Engelbert. Now his third attack. This is his low AP move. Single target up to range 3, 25% chance to cause confusion. It has the piercing effect, so it can catch multiple targets if they are standing next to each other. Next, the final attack in his main kit also has the piercing effect up to range 3. It will lower target's reaction block rate by 100%, then deals damage large, and decrease target's AP by 20. The decrease AP is very nice against physical damage dealers. Let's move on to the sub part of his main job. The first ability is a 2-hit attack. Single target up to 2 range, damage medium and lower target's attack and magic by 40 for 3 turns. The second ability is a group buff. An AoE around self, for 3 turns increase max HP by 20% and increase earth and lightning resistance by 25. Keep in mind, if this buff is turned on, he will use it on his second action. You likely will never run this sub job unless you need to extra earth resistance for a mirror match. That's all for his main kit. Let's look at his other sub jobs. We will look at Kododama first. For support abilities, he gets Lightning Spirit Blessing, giving him 12 spirit and 15 magic resistance. The second support is magic up 30%. The reaction ability from Kododama is Steal the Ephemeral Form. I never ran Steal the Ephemeral Form and magic up. Maybe Lightning Spirit Blessing a few times. He has better ones in his red mage sub. The two notable abilities are Anti-Magic Wall and Unavoidable Pain. This is his only sure hit in his kit. It can come in handy for certain situations. When I ran Kododama, these are the only 2 abilities I have on. The other sub job he has is Red Mage. And this is the one I use the most and recommend. The support abilities are Mage's Protection, giving him 12 spirit and 15 magic resistance. And Red Mage Lore, giving him initial AP 15 and magic damage up 10%. I run Mage's Protection almost 100% of the time. 12 spirit and 15 magic resistance can help him survive Dark Fina, Raph, and Sweetheart Miranda. The reaction ability is Magic Reflex. This is also very good. His additional reaction ability can reduce physical damage, and he has Magic Reflex to counter magic damage dealers. The 2 notable abilities are Resistance Break and Sleep. Resistance Break is one of his best ability. He has taken out so many re-raise unit with this skill for me. And the AI will use Sleep against high evasion units. He also has some healing from Red Mage and the AI will use it, but I would recommend to have it turned off. He could get stuck casting and stop moving forward if the AI decides to heal his allies. We have finished with his full kit. Now let's look at the vision card released 1 week after him. It is Dark Golem, a 90 cost VC and Esper combo. The card supports both Earth and Ice units. The stats are HP 423, Attack 58, Magic 154, 5 Defense and 3 Spirit. The party abilities are AoE resistance up 20, defense up 8 and acquired AP up 38%. These are so good. AoE resistance is the best party ability a vision card can have. And gaining more AP is always good. The bestowed ability is max HP up 15%, which is just perfect for Dialdo. The Dark Golem Esper has 1407 HP, 96 magic and 81 attack. It is a defensive Esper, so the agility is very low at 13. The best aspect of Dark Golem is in the ability board. It has 5% human resistance. I think this is a first for an Esper. It also has 25 wind resistance, which will bring Dialdo's wind resistance to a positive. It is a 90 cost card, and Earth already has a 20 AoE resistance VC. It is not a bad idea to wait for a 2k paid banner. Although I usually run both 20 AoE resistance cards together, it is not a must-have at release. Continuing on to his equipments and Espers. His farmable spear is his best weapon. That AoE resistance of 8 is just too important to pass up. In the second slot, I like the Survival Fest the most, for more single target resistance. But the Mage's Habit or the Platinum Robe are good for specific matchups. In the TMR slot, my top choice is the Sweetheart's Secret Pouch. It gives him move +1 and single target resistance. He will likely not be able to use the buff when both of his main job buffs are turned on. However, I have turned off his second buff in a longer map. Then this TMR will come in handy to separate him from the group and walks up with higher single target resistance. I will show a match with that scenario later on. Besides that, Viga's TMR or any high agility ones will be good. For his Espers, all the defensive ones are good depending on the matchup. Dark Shiva and regular Bahamut are more offensive. And Sheraton has some AoE resistance on the board and can increase earth attack. Now his Truststones. On the defensive side, Vital is the best, giving him more HP and 5% all elemental resistance. The abilities are HP and luck up. The other 4 really depends on what you are fighting. I have light and dark resistance. And stop and strike resistance for the last 2 slots. Crit Evade is always a good choice instead of a specific type damage resistance. On the offensive side, Agility is the best set. These are the abilities I have with the equipment showing here. Healing Power up and Magic up. Reaction Block Rate up and Earth Attack up. Lastly, Spirit Penetration up and Pierce Resistance Penetration up. These are very straightforward, but they are the most effective. Next up are some sample team comps. If you have been watching my videos, you would know how good this team is. It has a good chance winning against any team out there except Mono Wind. Don't be surprised if you win a few matches against Wind, it is very possible. Dialdo is on his red mage sub with mage's protection for 12 spirit and 15 magic resistance. And his own support ability 1 for 5 hate, 12 defense and 15 single target resistance. He is equipped with his main job reaction ability for chance to recover HP against physical damage. Any Espers showing here will work depending on the matchup. Currently, Great Demon is what I have on him for some strike resistance. The vision cards for this team is as follow. On Dialdo, I have Ice Golem for 20 AoE resist, defense up 8, and the acquired AP up 38%. In his sub slot, I have Dream of Heroism. The extra 6 AoE resistance does help against the most meta units, such as Raph and Sephiroth. The vision cards on Bradley are Eleficaras for single target resist and some agility. Prince Mott card for Earth Attack up, some accuracy and 18/penetration. For Queen Masheri, I have Sheraton for magic up 50%, /resistance of 10, and 25 accuracy. Black Rose card is there for 8% agility. In this build, Dialdo walks in with 5 hate and with his active buff, his hate will go up to 17. His AoE resistance can go up to 69. He walks in with 44. 8 from his spear, 20 from main VC, 6 from sub VC, 10 from Transcendence. Plus I have Mosheri equipped with Kingmont TMR to further buff Dialdo's AoE resistance by 25. He also has very good single target resistance. He walks in with 50. 20 from main VC, 15 from his support ability, 15 from Survival Fest, and 20 from his LB or 30 from the pouch TMR. I said it a few times in my CM and quick pick videos that I am not afraid of Edward. It is because of Dark Golem. It has 25 wind resistance that will bring Dialdo's wind resistance to 15. In my opinion, this is almost the perfect team. Dialdo can tank for a long time, Bradley can do huge damage, and Mosheri as the fail-safe. She can bring some healing and big magic damage. This team is very effective against Dark and Light, and pretty much my go-to team. It does not lose often. The secret sauce is Mont's TMR. Be sure to work it in your team for the initial turns. It will win you a lot of matches. The second team I have is the same as the previous one, minus Dark Golem. Dream of Heroism is now Dialdo's main VC, which also has 20 AoE resistance, and regular Golem as a sub for some additional HP and lightning resistance. This team also works very well. With regular Golem Esper, Dialdo has 20 pierce resistance and not losing out on too much AoE res. All the vision cards here are older and not limited. I believe most players can build a similar team and have great success. Dialdo will work very well with all Earth units. He works best with Bradley, but you don't need him if you give Dialdo the proper support. I will show a match later on to prove it. The last team comp I have prepared for today is the Pierce team with Flag Glaciella and Ice Jaden. In JP, we currently have 5 Pierce type vision cards. I think a full Pierce team is ready. It has agility and single target resistance from the Brotherhood VC and Jaden's wedding card for AoE resistance. At the moment, I would still take a mono element team over weapon type teams except for strike. A mono element team is easier to build and more effective. I think a type chain damage increase VC is needed if they want to make weapon type teams work. Right now, duo element teams with a couple weapon type VCs could work, such as Ice and Water, and Earth plus Ice with Dialdo and Felis. Before I give my final thoughts on him, I will quickly show a unit cost 250 team with the free MR Earth Healer Galzok. Dialdo plus Galzok and any decent Earth DPS can cause some issue to your opponents. Another recently popular team in JP is Dialdo, White Dress Alaya and Felis. The Brotherhood VC and Jaden's wedding card support both Dialdo and Alaya. Felis carries 2 agility VCs. This team can just tank for a long time and take your opponents out in 2 to 3 hits. That's the power of a top tier tank and top tier DPS combined. Basically, Dialdo plus a healer can carry your team. Luelle recently got her 140 in JP. Her Earth Invocation now grants Dark and Lightning resistance 25. She could be a great replacement for Queen Mosheri if you don't have her ready. Now my final thoughts. Dialdo is a top tier unit in the game. He is the new generation of tank. He can tank with his eyes closed and take you out when he opens his eyes. There are a lot of comparisons between him and Raf. Who is the better tank? I think they are equal. However, in my experience, my Earth team beats Dark 80% of the time. Dialdo's only weakness is him being an Earth unit, not because he can't tank wind. It is because his teammates cannot take out mono wind fast enough. I think everyone should consider pulling for him. He is worth it. Just like the second team comp I shown, all the vision cards are older and not limited. He is not expensive to run. He will win a lot of matches for you. Now let's see some sample matches. The first match is taken from the recent quick pick match. I was ranked 67. Going up against Mono Lightning. I want to clear any confusion I might have caused with my previous video, showing this exact same Lightning team beating this Mono Earth team. Mono Lightning has no chance beating Earth if the Earth team is built properly. Bradley's courage and move forward. Mosheri uses Mont's TMR to increase Dialdo's AoE resistance by 25. Dialdo's first turn uses his defense up 20, shell and lower effects of all debuffs, also granting him an additional reaction ability to lower all incoming physical damage. Dialdo's second turn uses his Hate Up and Elemental Chain damage reduction buff. Resistance Break from Red Mage sub. 2 hit large damage and remove re-raise. Goodbye Vega. This is how dominating Earth should be against all lightning teams. Next up against the meta Dark team. You can see how fast I pick my units. Dark team has a very slim chance beating my Earth team. All my units are at a lower reincarnation level. Dialdo is at 4, Mosheri is at 0 and Bradley is at 10. Looking at their HP, they are pretty high up there in reincarnations. Again, Dialdo starts off with the defense up and shell buff. Raph should come in about a month. I will have her 140 review up before her banner drops. Subscribe if you want to know how I built her. Hate Up and Elemental Chain damage reduction buff. It will pay off big time here. Let's start counting how many hits Dialdo is taking. Stop is the only thing that can really threaten Dialdo here. It did not land, that's really good for me. With a stop resistance Truststone, Fina only has around 25% chance to land her status ailment, even both units are at 97 faith. Sephiroth's LB, that's the 5th attack at Dialdo. Both Dialdo and Mosheri still have AoE resistance buff active, they did not take too much damage from the LB. Mosheri as the fell safe, comes in with her own LB. Dialdo then goes in with Resistance Break, doing close to 10k damage plus removing Rapha's re-raise. And goodbye Raph. Resistance Break on Sephiroth, starting an Earth Chain for Mosheri to finish. Max damage and they are done. Dialdo took 6 hits and still standing to the end. That's how tanky he is. Next up we have a match from the previous CM. I was ranked around 150, going up against a monolight team. You will see why I run Dialdo at 97 faith in this match. Sweetheart Miranda is a very popular choice in all cost limited settings. Her high magic base damage is really threatening. That's his second priority buff. Hate Up and Elemental Chain Resistance. In this CM, I turned off Dialdo's first buff so he would use his TMR on second turn to increase his movement and gain some more single target resistance. It was done to counteract Bart's follow-up attacks. That's the Sweetheart TMR, increase move and jump by 1, help him to close the gap faster. And increase single target resistance by 30. He now has 80% single target res, Bart's follow-up should not do too much damage. That's his LB. Magic-based pierce damage large, increase single target resistance by 20, and HP regen for 3 turns. The single target resistance buff does not stack. Did very good damage, almost 5k to Miranda. Slime goes in for a heal. Heal Dialdo for over 10k HP. That's why his faith is at 97. Bart's follow-up only did 800 damage to Dialdo. The single target resistance is paying off. That's his job level 25 attack. Lower reaction by 100, damage large, decrease target's AP by 20. This skill has the piercing effect, so it hits both enemies, and damage when against their single target resistance. The damage with 3 chains was huge to both units as well. Next up is another quick pick match from a couple months ago. I was ranked 55 during this time. Going up against Mono Ice. Focus on Dialdo's damage in this fight. Ice Howlet is already in Global. How are you guys liking him? Reagan and Howlet is not to be taken lightly. They can chain very well together. Check out my Howlet review video if you haven't already. As always, he starts off with his additional reaction buff, giving him more defense and shell. Dialdo's job level 25 skill did over 6k to Reagan and lower his AP by 20. Howlet's LB did only 800 damage to Dialdo. His shell is still active from his buff. Dialdo's LB, giving him HP regen and 20 single target resistance. With his HP regen active, it is very demoralizing for your opponent. This is a shorter map, so Dialdo did not cast his hate up buff. The enemy targeted Mosheri instead. It is not ideal, but usually by the time Dialdo's hate runs out, the match is pretty much over. Next up is a new match I added with Melnia. She was released on July 1st, this is one of the very first match I had with her. Let's take a look. I will test her out at 115 and upload a video this coming week. Melnia is at level 87. And I put Bradley on the wrong side of the map so he won't last too long and we can see the other 2 units in action. Dialdo and Bradley alone can probably take this team out. I am still not sure what Melnia brings to Mono Earth yet. She has a lot of status effects and re-raise removal. Maybe an Earth double gunner team is possible. That's Dialdo's TMR. Lower target's bravery by 20 upon hit for 3 turns. Dialdo is tanking super well against all their attacks. Lower bravery by Melnia. Melnia has much longer range after EX, don't worry. Her damage seems very good. She plays similarly to Ice Alaya. Very promising. The last match of the day is a practice match with the Margalzak and 120 Euro. Going up against Edward, Alaya and Raf. I won't explain during this match, just watch what a healer plus Dialdo can do. The DPS unit really doesn't matter too much if your enemy cannot take your tank out. If you want to see more of Dialdo, you can check out my CM and Quick Pick playlist. Leave a like and subscribe if you find this showcase video useful. That's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.